Welcome in, grab a seat, and join me courtside as we talk your Miami Heat. Because that's what they're doing to us. They're just letting the air out of this balloon. They are disappointing us once again. It's been a tough week in the land of Heat Nation. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Miami Heat Basketball Beat. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and I want to thank you all so very much for joining me today, despite the bad news that we're about to bring you. Coming into this game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, we had so tonight we were playing a game, your Miami Heat on the road against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Heat were coming in at 20-18, 8th in the East. We are falling deeper into that play-in zone up against the OKC Thunder at 32-7 with the best record in all of basketball. Unfortunately, once again, we did have some lineup change this time as Norm Powell was out today with some back spasms. So our new starting lineup for tonight's game was Davion Mitchell, Tyler Hero, Pelle Larsson was back in the lineup for Norm Powell, Wiggins and Adebayo. So once again, Kel'el Ware starts the game on the bench. And for some reason, I'm not saying you should reward a guy who doesn't play well on the bench, but he clearly does much better as a starter for this team. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. All right, starting off with our first quarter, we got off to a bit of a hot start, making a lot of three-pointers. We ended the period shooting 5 for 9 from downtown, the leader of which was Andrew Wiggins, who went 3 for 4, including a play we will break down a little bit later. As at the end of the quarter, first quarter that is, OKC came back, took the lead. We went on a 5-0 run to close out the final 2 seconds as we had Drew Smith get a running layup on a nice cut and dish from Jaime Jaquez. And then on the inbound pass, Wiggins stole the ball, quickly shot up the 3 from the corner, knocking it down to then take the lead coming out of the first quarter. And at the end of one, we were actually up 34-32, although we were up about 8 or 9 points early in the quarter, but we did fight back from the run that OKC did in the second half of the first quarter. Again, with that 5-0 run in the final 3 seconds, did give us the lead. After one quarter, our points leader were Andrew Wiggins at 9 points on 3 3-pointers. Tyler Hero had 8 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Let's see, who was next? We had Pelle Larsson at 6 points on 2 of 3 shooting. He was 1 of 1 from downtown. Davion Mitchell made all of his 2 shots, including 1 from downtown in that first quarter, and Bam Adebayo contributed with 0 points, 0 for 3. He did have 5 rebounds, however, in the first quarter. All of our starters, except for Wiggins, surprisingly, was on the plus side, and all of our bench players mixed in with Wiggins were minus. So once again, our bench has been atrocious, which is why I'm starting to blame Spo here a little bit, because it's been the same thing over and over and over again. We start off hot. We relinquish the lead. We never get it back most of the time. Tonight we did for a little bit here, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But once again, when the crisis time, end of the first quarter and end of the third quarter, our bench cannot do it, which means he needs to shuffle this around here, needs to find better combinations. And I'll mention right here, after the first quarter, our largest plus minus was Jovic, who had 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 0 assists, and a -7. I think I have him here taking 0 shots as well. So he was just floating around out there. Jaquez also went through the first quarter without any points on 0 shot attempts, although he did have 3 assists and a block and a steal. And Drew Smith went 2 for 2, getting 4 points, and Ware was 1 for 2 with 2 points. So again, at the end of one, we are up 34-32. Now heading into your second quarter of play. This game, like I said, it was pretty close the whole time in this first half here. But once again, heading down the stretch as your Heat really did a fine job closing out quarters. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good 3-minute or 2.5-minute stretch of closing out quarters. It was more of a minute or less stretch. But nonetheless, Pelle Larsson gets an and one basket. Pardon me there, I'm choking a little bit. Larsson makes an and one basket and the free throw to break a 52-52 tie to give your Heat a 55-52 lead with 1 minute left in the second quarter. And then at the very end of the quarter as well, Davion Mitchell drives and dishes to Jovic for a basket with less than 3 seconds to go, extending that lead to 59-54. So again, going into halftime, your Miami Heat had a lead on the road against OKC 59-54. And once again, they outscored them this time in the second quarter 25-22. Hero had 0 points in that second quarter. Our leading scorer in the second quarter here was Pelle Larsson at 5. Jovic chipped in with 5s. He made that last cutting layup and a 3-pointer mixed in there as well. And Jaime Jaquez made a 3-pointer, get 3 points, but really low scoring overall mixed around here as we had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players score in the second quarter, but no one scored more than 5 with Jovic and Larsson. So everyone scored 5, 2, 1 points, but combined to get to 25 points. But Hero scored 0 points. And then at halftime here, let's see. Again, all of our starters are plus, except for Wiggins, who's at a -1. And then only Jaquez as a bench player is a +2, and all of our bench players are minus. Although they did improve from the first quarter plus-minus at this point. All right, now we're coming out of the halftime break with that 5-point lead, 59-54. And we come out shooting hot again here as Davion Mitchell on the first possession hits a first possession for the Heat, hits a 3-pointer to answer the opening basket by the OKC Thunder. So they extend their lead to 6 points here, 62-56 after that 3-pointer from Davion Mitchell. At this point, he was 3 for 3 from the field, and 3 for 3 from downtown, I think. Anyway. So we have the lead there up to 6 points at 11:31 in this third quarter. We're playing a little more inspired here. Again, it's going a little back and forth, but we have a nice block by Bam on Chet, which gets us down on a little bit of a break. We come up empty on that one, but nonetheless, we're controlling the pace here. And then we have an awful turnover by Davion Mitchell on a run out for Dort, who can close the gap down to 4. However, Pelle Larsson beats him down the floor, turns, squares up, takes a stiff arm to the chest. We're going to show you that one a little bit later in our highlight reel. But that play right there kept it a 6-point lead. And on the way back down, Tyler Hero gets fouled going for 3, making 2 of his 3 free throws. And the Heat get up by 8 points, 66-58 with 9:32 remaining in the third quarter. So they're not really extending their lead too much, but they're weathering the storm in this first couple minutes. And every time OKC scores, Miami Heat answer on a 1-to-1 basis here. And they do that for the next couple minutes, trading baskets back and forth as OKC then finally gets on a little bit of a run, takes the lead back 67-66 over your Miami Heat at 7:38 remaining. Again, at this point, they're going back after that run, they go back and forth a little bit. Bam gets fouled down 2 at 74-76 with a chance to tie the game with 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Misses them both, and that's a prelude for what is going to take over for the rest of the period here. Except for a little 5-0 run to 11-6 run in the final 2 minutes here. Even with that for your Heat, the Heat had 11-6 run to close out the quarter. Again, they close out every quarter good. However, leading up to that final little closeout is when they relinquish their high points for the quarter. If you include even that 11-6 run for the Heat in the final 2.5 minutes, the OKC Thunder finished the final 9.5 minutes of the third quarter on a 35-19 run. They had a 29-8 run over a 7-minute span if you went from 9:23 to where the Heat had that nice little finish in the final 2.5 minutes. So over a near 7-minute stretch here in the middle to late third quarter, OKC Thunder ran away on a 29-8 run. Guys, I just fill in the old sheets I do when it comes to these stats, and it's been the same thing all the time. The only difference this time is we had a lead with about 9 minutes left in the third period, and the other games previously is when we cut it down to our lowest differential, where we get it where we're down by 16 and get it down to 6 or 8, and then from that point, about 9 minutes till about 2 minutes in every single game in the last 3 games in a row, we're getting outscored by 20 points in a 5 to 7 minute run. It's rinse and repeat, which this is obviously a talent problem here, but if it's the same thing at the same point of the game, man, and we've had the same starting lineup in terms of moving Ware to the bench here once Tyler came back, I'm not blaming Tyler. I'm blaming the coach. You got to figure out combinations of players who can work together here. You can't have such a bad stretch of time in the same pocket of the game every time. you need to switch some things up, get some different people in there, different combinations. Maybe take Bam out a little earlier so you can bring him back a little later, although he's not our savior right now. But you know what I'm saying? That's why when they have here Ware and Bam start together, he actually takes Bam out first early in the rotation. So when he brings Bam back in for Ware in the second part of a quarter, you're not leaving Ware out there all by himself for those final 6 minutes. He can't anchor a defense. He's a great secondary piece, a young player who's learning with some mistakes in his game, but you leave him out there on an island for such long stretches of time here, the other teams really take advantage of the situation and either extend their lead or come back from deficits and even get their biggest lead of the game at that point. That second half of the third quarter, it's not even the second half. It's from the 9-minute mark. We come out ablazing for 3 minutes, and we're like, we did our job. We didn't come out of the halftime stinking. But there's a lot of time left, guys, and you are getting killed for not just a 4-minute stretch, but an 8-minute stretch over and over again. All right, guys, sorry for the jump cuts there. I'm really having a hard time choking a little bit here. Had to catch my breath. All right, so at the end of 3, your Miami Heat are down by 8. So they went up. They went up by 5 at halftime. Now they're down by 8. 85-93 is the score at this point, and they were outscored by 13 points, 39-26 in the third period. And the fourth period comes along, and let's just break down some of the scoring in the third period, as all of our players were minus. Everyone touched the floor was a minus. Our worst players in terms of plus and minus was Drew Smith at -9, and Andrew Wiggins remains at -9 as well, even though he's the only one making any shots here. And our highest scoring player in the third period was Davion Mitchell at 5 points. Ware had 0 points in that period. Adebayo only had 4. Again, pretty tough going. Tyler Hero only had 2 points in the third period. So a pretty tough go here. All right, we're going into the fourth quarter. Down 13 points. Even after all that, we are in striking distance. So let's see how this fourth quarter started out for us here and how it may have ended. All right, after a three-pointer made by Wiggins with about 8:16 left in the fourth quarter, which would be his 5th three-pointer made of the night, we cut the lead down to an manageable 11 with about 8.5 minutes to go, or a little less than that. So we're in striking distance, but from that point on, OKC goes on a 21-15 run over the next 5 minutes and expanding their lead now to a 111-95. Now we're down by 16 points. Yeah, 16 points when we got it down to 11. Coming out of that timeout where they had that little mini run to extend the lead to 16, we have a nice play call from Spo after the timeout where the ball goes back and forth, back to Hero, who shoots a contested 28-foot three-pointer with about 12 seconds left on the shot clock, just like they drew it up. And that's where the game was pretty much over. Although Wiggins tried to keep us back, get us back into it. He made another three-pointer with 6:14 left to get it back down to the 16-point game, which is where we were prior. He was the only one scoring there. And then Wiggins made his 7th three-pointer of the night to get it back to 15 points with 2 minutes to go. At that point, Spo emptied his bench. And, our final here was 124-112 was the final in this one, where Heat scored 27 points in the fourth quarter. The OKC Thunder scored 31 points in the fourth quarter. So we won 2 quarters again, guys. For the second straight game, we are tied in terms of quarters won. That is worth absolutely nothing, but it makes you feel good if you want to kind of spin this in the most positive direction. All right, let's look at some final numbers here. We've got Tyler Hero was finished with 19 points. It's once the game's out of hand, he just starts shooting whenever he wants. Shot 8 for 15, which sounds fine. 1 of 3 from downtown. He had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers. No steals, no blocks, a -2 for Hero. Davion Mitchell finished with 13 points, 5 of 7 shooting. He finally got some shots at this time, 3 for 3 from downtown. Did have 10 assists, 3 rebounds, but he also had 2 turnovers. And he had 1 steal for a -5. Did not score in the fourth quarter. Pelle Larsson only added 1 point in the fourth quarter. Did finish with 16 on 6-11 shooting, 1 of 4 from downtown. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but he had 2 turnovers. Everyone had multiple turnovers today. Larsson had a block, did draw 2 charges, and did have a steal. And he was our highest plus-minus with Pelle Larsson at a net 0 in terms of plus-minus. Andrew Wiggins was your leading scorer tonight on 23 points. He had 9 points in the first quarter, 9 points in the Fourth quarter, shot 8 of 16 overall, 7 of 10 from downtown, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, but 6 turnovers for Andrew Wiggins. Despite being the leading scorer and the most efficient scorer, he was almost a team high. It was second in terms of plus minus in terms of minus 14. So it's like those turnovers really made up for any points he was scoring on his own, as I believe it was 39 points off turnovers did the OKC score, a huge number there. So that was a big contributing factor for not being a positive on the plus minus trend. Bam Adebayo, 6 points, guys. 3 of 10 shooting, 0 points in the fourth quarter. 14 rebounds. Okay, good for you there. At least you got off the glass. 4 assists, 2 turnovers as well, a block and a steal, a -9 for Adebayo. Again, shooting less than 40% from a big man's position is just unacceptable. We'll just talk about it while we're here on Adebayo. He either stinks, that's a possibility. He might have aged out of his athleticism. You know, they say small guards, you don't want them as they age. Well, maybe you don't want small centers as they age either. I don't want to say that is for sure as of yet. I'm going to go with what I hope is the case, that he's banged up and maybe hurt. Doesn't look like he's hurt the way he's moving out there, but if he's playing this poorly and it's because of injury, give this man a week off, because I can't stand to watch him fail like this. And if there's a chance that maybe a little bit of time off can get him back on track, because this has been too long with Adebayo struggling so much in terms of quantitative output and efficiency, man. He's shooting 4 for 12, 3 for 10, 5 for 12, 5 for 14 over the last 4 games. It has been awful. All right, our bench players now, we have Nikola Jovic, finished with 13 points, made, I think, 2 3-pointers. I don't have this quite right here, but it was 3 for 5 shooting I have. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a turnover, a block, and a steal, but he also was a -12, so he was our third worst in terms of plus minus. Jaime Jaquez, only 5 points tonight. Only took 2 shots. Maybe 3 shots. He took 3 shots. He shot 2 of 3 and 1 of 2 from downtown. 3 assists, which he had all those in the first quarter. 5 turnovers for Jaquez. Between Jaquez and Wiggins, they really did give up a lot in terms of turnovers. He did have 1 steal, a -10 for Jaquez. Drew Smith finished with 6 points. Had 3 rebounds, 6 assists, only 1 turnover, but 1 steal and a -15, and he got blown by a couple times on defense. And Kel'el Ware, I don't know what is going on. He only has 8 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 0 for 2 from downtown. He had 0 rebounds, guys. Kel'el Ware had 0 rebounds. This guy had a week where he was getting 20 rebounds every game. I don't know what's changed, if it's the competition, the role, if he's frustrated or hurt, or what's going on. But this is a complete complete opposite of what he was doing just about 3 to 4 weeks ago. This has been pretty upsetting here. He finished with a -6. He always finds a way not to be one of our best players in terms of plus minus. Although these numbers here show he's not doing anything to help you with that. And then Fontecchio made 3 points at the end of the game in those last 2 minutes of garbage time. All right, let's look at some team totals real quick. Miami had 23 turnovers after a game where they had 19 turnovers last time. They did not improve. They did improve in terms of the assists as the ball was popping, especially in that first quarter and the first half. So they did get a lot of assists, and that usually is about a number of assists that would give you a victory, but not when you couple it with 23 turnovers. They shot 17 of 32 from three-pointers, so you can't blame a bad shooting night. They only had 37 rebounds, however, and only 5 offensive, and they had 35 of their points come from the bench, while the OKC Thunder this time only had 13 turnovers. They shot 10 of 34 from downtown, so they didn't shoot particularly well, but they out-rebounded us by 9 and by 9 in overall rebounds and 9 on the offensive glass, which contributed to the OKC Thunder getting more than 25 points in second chance points. So they had 39 points off turnovers. Their bench outscored us 54 to 35. I mean, that's all you need to hear right here. As when we were winning games, our bench was dominating, our points in the paint was dominating, and our turnovers were low. And then it's just the opposite right now. The player of note for the obviously here for the OKC Thunder is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 29 points on 10 of 19 shooting, made 2 of his 6 3-pointers, 8 assists. He did turn the ball over 3 times, and got to the foul line relatively low amount. He went 7 for 9 from the free throw line. Honestly, you'd take that for him. And he wasn't even the most impressive player as you're watching the game. A lot of the role players are hitting the three-pointers and getting the steals, but he's just so consistent with that little fadeaway shot in the mid-range there. So he made a lot of tough shots. I thought the defense on Shea was pretty good. He just made a couple. He made like 3 or 4 really well-contested shots as Miami Heat were really focusing on double-teaming him right when he got the ball. So at least they did something proactive, but their rotations were pretty bad tonight, and we'll show you a couple of those in our little highlight reel in a moment here. But yeah, Shea once again showed he is dominating at 29 points. All right, so your final, I guess, shows up top here, 124 to 112. We've been giving up that 120 to 124 in almost every game. At least this time we broke 100 to get to 112, but even then it wasn't even that close, to be honest with you. All right, so the Heat now lose 3 games in a row, fall to 20-19. OKC improves to 33-7. All right, let's get into some of our replays here in highlight reels or lowlights, and we'll break down some plays that caught my attention. I was so frustrated. I didn't think I want to make a highlight package like last game, but we did have some good moments, especially in the first half up through the first 3 minutes of the third quarter. So let's show you the good before we just absorb the bad. All right, let's look at this one right here. Let's see what's our first play on the board.
See what the Heat do here. Final possession. Smith the push shot, and that's good offense again. But 3 seconds to steal. Wiggins off the inbounds pass, and he nails the 3.
This is the... All right, hold on one second. So this is the end of the first quarter here. I will show the whole play once again. I want to get a load up here real quick. All right, starting off, you've got a drive here by Hawkes. Hits a cutting Drew Smith, who scores with 4 seconds left to narrow the lead from 32 to 31. A steal of the inbound pass by Wiggins, who hits the corner 3 to take the lead back. That's that 5-0 run with 2 seconds left. Let's watch it one more time if it goes through. I'm not sure. All right, here we go. We got Hawkes coming in. A quick push shot off a cut from Smith. And watch. There you go. Watch. Can I go back a half second here? I want to see how Wiggins is just camping out ready for the steal. All right, you got Wiggins staying in his spot. He sees that potentially the receiver here, Williams, might be the one getting the ball. So he kind of just takes a peek. And then he comes on in for it. Gets it. Nice steal. And makes a great shot. At that point, I think he was 3 for 4 from downtown. He made 3 3-pointers in the first quarter. Again, a great closeout for the last 10 seconds. All right, our next play here.
Especially when they pick up their dribble. High arcing 3 for A.J. Mitchell, no good. Chet couldn't tap it to himself.
We got Jovic driving down. It looks like a nice play to Kello Ware for a putback, but I'm going to show you why I don't think this is a great play. Just because, you know me, I'm the Jovic basher, and I'm going to show you why I think it was unnecessary. It still worked out, so you can call me out in the comments if you want. All right, ready? He's driving in. Watch this. He's going down. He's going from the right elbow towards the left side of the basket. Look at the players. Yes, actually, Kello Ware looks open here, so if he would have thrown it here, it would have been the right play, but as always, he's either late or off target. And also, look at this. You've got, you can't see my mouse, I don't think. We've got Chet Holmgren here kind of rotating back towards Kello Ware, but look at his back. His back is facing the ball. Jovic has a direct lane to the layup or a dunk if he wanted to do it here, as you've got Chet Holmgren literally picking off the only one other guy who can help from the right side. So he's already beaten those 2 guys if he just straight lines us to the rim here. So he should have thrown it. Let's go back and see when he could have thrown this ball to Ware if he's going to throw it. All right, right here. Right there, throw it to Ware. One dribble at the most. How many dribbles did he take? I'm sick and tired of this guy. Let's see. Again, Ware leads the break. I just want to kind of see this because it goes so fast. All right. He should be looking up right now. He should see that Ware is going to be potentially open. I understand taking 1 dribble to have that time to survey. How many dribbles does he take? 1 dribble, 2 dribbles. Still works out. I'm still going to say if he didn't pass it off 1 dribble, he should have just taken it all the way. Again, it works out. You can call me petty there. I don't mind doing that. Again, he's off timing and doesn't make the right decisions, even when it ends up good here. Watch this. Boom, up, right there. 1 dribble up. He waits till the 2 guys combine down to Ware. Man, I can't take it. All right, what's our next play here? We're going to show you how strong how strong Jovic is here. First, before I do that, it starts off with the best highlight of the night, but this one's for OKC. An amazing dunk by Aaron Wiggins down the lane here, and we're going to show you why this potentially messes up. But let's just watch the play first before we pause it.
Wiggins, too much speed.
Oh my gosh.
Continues. See what the
Oh, I messed up. I thought this was one. All right, sorry. Here it is.
Wiggins, too much speed.
And this is what I actually wanted to show you, other than that dunk. All right, this is funny here. So we got Jovic getting the ball here on the right wing, and he's going to try and power down somebody. And we've always mentioned this guy gets dislodged from the ball so easy. He's so weak, physically weak in terms of relation to other NBA players. Watch this. I'm going to bounce you down. I'm going to bang you down. Bang. Bang. He literally bounces off the guy backwards when he's trying to put in the force. It's ridiculous. All right, let's watch this. Let's watch this dunk again. Oh, wait.
Wiggins steps into it from downtown. Slicing.
All right, I want to go back because I obviously, let's see. I know I'm kind of stuttering here. All right, we're going to show you why that dunk was so wide open. All right, you've got Aaron Wiggins on the top left wing of the OKC Thunder. You've got Jovic on the bottom, and I'm not sure that is. I think is that where out on the right side. So you've two guys on the right line. Their responsibility are the two guys on the offense's left, if you will. The one guy at the three-point line, and the one guy looks like he's doing some sort of curl coming in here. So as he drives in, where is Jovic going? He comes in when this guy's double teamed, maybe to take off the guy by the dotted line there, but he's just kind of floating. All right, so he does pick him up. Okay. So now at this point, Ware needs to either sprint out to the guy to the right, and then we're going to have a rotation to the top left here, as Hawkins is in charge of both those top guys. That's tough because we have the double team. So now Ware is going to take the top guy instead, which means Jovic and or Drew Smith. I don't want to blame Jovic on this one too much. I could see this one going either way. But you have Jovic on the bottom guy on offense, and Drew Smith, who's recovering from that double team. What they should do is, I guess, Jovic should probably go out to the right defense's right three-pointer, and Drew Smith should take the bottom guy here, as instead of running past two guys, they each run out to the next guy to them. But instead, they both sprint out to the right corner three-point shooter, leaving the lane open with Wiggins down there kind of cover three guys, the two guys that are down there, and then the person who is taking off the dribble here. You see Drew Smith and Jovic both go out to the right guy. No one's guarding the guy under the basket right now. So he could have passed it, but he's also like, well, if they're not guarding you, I can get there in one dribble, and he's going to explode for a huge left-handed jam. A nice jam by Aaron Wiggins there. And again, I really just want to show you the weakness of Jovic on the other side of the ball as he's trying to power dribble down, literally bounces off him 3 times. Shoulder, boom, backwards. Shoulder, boom, backwards. They did call the foul, but my goodness. All right, our next one here, let's see. We have a putback, offensive rebound from OKC to take the lead here late in the second period. Let me see if you can see why this guy gets an easy rebound. We have 2 Heat players by the block on the opposite side of the lane here. That looks like Davion Mitchell on the bottom block and Jovic sitting there at the dotted line. And neither one of these guys is putting a body on anybody. And this player, I believe, was Mitchell, just comes right in between them both, right across the lane here. Ridiculous. I can blame both these guys equally. You've got to look and put a body on somebody. What are we doing? You have 2 guys there, and no one puts a body on them. Ridiculous. I know I kind of just to scorch Jovic, but that's both these guys. One of you guys got to put a body on them. All right, what do we have here? This is the beginning of the Oh, end of the third period. End of the second period, pardon me. Pelle Larsson on a little bit of a pick, pop, and go. Gets fouled, makes the basket, breaks the tie at 54-52, finishes the three-point play to get the lead back to 55-52 with a minute to go. Like I said, this is part of them really capitalizing those last minutes of the quarters. And then with 9 seconds left here, Davion Mitchell is going to dribble the ball off here. Nice little dish over to Jovic. Does put it in and gets a night. Finishes off the quarter there with a 59-54 lead, like we mentioned in the rundown. But this is the plays that got us there. Nice drive and dish, and a good finish by Jovic. I'll give him that. I'm not going to trash him all the time when there's not a reason to. So he did finish that there, but a nice drive by Davion Mitchell, part of his 10 assists tonight. All right, what's our next play here? This is starting off the third period after a quick make by OKC to get it down to 59-56. Swing out over to Mitchell, makes the three-pointer from the right wing there. At that point, he was 3 for 3 from downtown. He extends the lead up to 6 points. So we're doing good to start the quarter. Show it one more time. It's a nice relocation and a nice play by Pelle, who goes to the middle, sees the open man on the spray. And this is what we're really fighting here to keep this lead, guys, although we start out with a pretty bad turnover here by Davion Mitchell on some sort of pick and roll with Bam. Pretty bad there. So it's a turnover. We got, looks like a fast break that's going to get this down to a 4-point game, but we got a stiff arm in traffic here. I mean, the open floor by Lou Dort really puts down Pelle Larsson to draw his second charge and really saved a play here to keep this at a 6-point differential. Boom. I try to do a little quick edit here to get all these stiff arms back to back. And then we've got, let's see, is that the last play? Nope, we have one more play here. All right, let me pause it real quick. All right, so right now you can see we're down by 16 points. We're coming out of the timeout I mentioned here. There's 10 seconds on the shot clock. So Spo drew up a play here, and all we had was a contested 30-foot three-pointer. Boom. Brick that thing so bad. He could have easily swung this one more time to Pelle. Nice play out of the timeout, guys. And that's pretty much, the game was already trending towards being not being able to come back, but that really sealed the deal on this one, as that one was that one put it in the ice box there, as your Heat had no chance to come back after that. All right, guys, so let's get into what we have to look forward to for the rest of this week here. We've got 3 games finishing off this particular week. On Tuesday night, we've got Miami taking on the Phoenix Suns on the road once again. Then they come home on Thursday to play Boston. Maybe they're at home. Oh, they're at home to play Phoenix. I'm sorry. I don't know why they have this written backwards here. So they come home. They're playing a home game against Phoenix on Tuesday. And I'm not sure if they're traveling to Boston or not, because it doesn't have the home and away teams here. They are at home, though, against OKC on Saturday. And then they're going to play Golden State next Monday. We'll count that for the following week. So we have 3 games to finish out this week. Phoenix, Boston, OKC, all teams with winning records. This is going to be tough, guys. Last time we fell down to 500. Luckily, we got a 4-game winning streak to get back. I think we're going to fall below 500 in this next week, guys. It's going to be pretty tough. We were hoping to go 2-2 on this road trip before it started. Then we had that rain out, if you will, in Chicago. We were hoping to go 1-2. Instead, we go 0-3 with tough matchups ahead. This is going to be a struggle here. We're going to get into it a little bit more on our next show about what our trade options are. We talked about it a little bit in our last one here, but I'm going to have a little more visual aids to help talk about some of the salary cap matching and stuff like that. All right, guys, once again, your Miami Heat lose this one. So unfortunately, we have now fallen down to 20-19 with a tough road ahead. With that being said, guys, may you please make your free throws. May your coaches' challenges be successful, and we will see you next time.